Radio Zero.
It's Radio Zero with Rick and Rose for the day the world ends. Another day when the world ends.
You can subscribe to the podcast on Apple, Spotify. Go to radiozero.us. We're live streaming on the Radio Zero page and Poster Children page on Facebook. We're on Twitch at PCJC USA and on the Poster Children YouTube channel. You can patronize us at patreon.com/radiozero. Thanks to all of you who are patronizing us. All right. It's a big day.
All I know is that after I don't have my my headphone on my left ear because I got a nice piercing like a month and a half ago or 2 months ago for my breast cancer. Like I got my all clear from breast cancer, so then I immediately was going to go get my ear pierced. So I got the cartilage pierced. I have a cartilage piercing on the other ear. And now all of a sudden, just completely out of nowhere, I have it just got infected, and so it's growing over the gem on the earring. So, and then I looked it up, and there's like these horrible pictures of women with like giant bubbles on their ears and stuff like that. And you have to have that surgically removed. So I have to go and get, and I'm like starting to already feel chills and stuff like that. From getting a fever from it being infected. So after this, I have to go to convenient care and get somebody to give me
Eardrops.
Antibiotics. And right after this, you're going
to get
your
booster.
booster. And so I've been pissed off about this the whole day, and I've been like kind of shaky and feeling horrible. About this, just being so mad that my cool, like I'm not cool. Apparently, I'm not cool enough to have an ear piercing, like a cartilage piercing. I'm not cool enough, And then this fucking Kyle Rittenhouse thing happened, and it's just like puts everything into perspective. So fuck everybody. And you're gonna get your booster shot later.
Yeah. So I'm planning on, falling asleep on the couch and, having CNN. No, I don't watch CNN. Maybe I'll just.
We
I'll
don't
probably
get
just
CNN, do we? Can we watch it?
I'll just run the PBS NewsHour on a loop for the next 24 hours.
What do you want to see? They put out National Guard troops, right?
Did they? I don't know.
I think they were mobilizing them like days ago. I heard that they were mobilizing National Guard troops in Wisconsin, and I was like, I don't even know. I don't even know what the hell's going on.
Why? Are they worried that white people are going to get hurt?
I don't even know what's going on. Do you want to refresh me? You want to actually tell me what's going on? What did this man do? What this 14-year-old kid do?
17. He was 17 at the time. He's 18 now. His mother took him in a car. He had at least one weapon with him, right? Drove him over state lines to the protests in Kenosha and dropped him off.
He's from Illinois.
He's from Illinois, from our town, our state.
Our blue state.
But he had to go over the border to, apparently, I don't know. I mean, I don't understand. Well, yeah, no, he went over state lines, shot to death 2 people, injured another person, defending himself, he claims. So he actively went across state lines with a weapon, underage. Apparently, there's a loophole with the weapon he has. The weapon is not a long gun. So, like, if he had gone into there, if he had been carrying, what was some of the other weapons? Like mace, I think? Or like a dangerous weapon.
What if he was audio recording?
Yeah, exactly.
Would he be in trouble?
There's so many loopholes that happened with this. But yeah, so for some reason, his weapon, he wasn't in violation of the most basic law, which was that he was an underage person carrying a dangerous weapon. They somehow loopholed his dangerous weapon, which fucking looks dangerous to me, and killed 2 people, right? And they said people attacked him and he shot them in self-defense. Now, the problem is that if you walk into a situation with a gun and then you're defending yourself against people because you're worried they're going to take your gun away from you and shoot you, that's a pretty crazy definition of self-defense.
Well,
So
that works if you're white.
It's basically, I have a chainsaw, I'm running at this guy, but I got worried that he was going to take that chainsaw away from me, and so I cut his head off. Right? If I said that as self-defense, you'd say, you're a fucking lunatic. You're a guy who just ran into a situation with a chainsaw, and you're telling me that you were defending yourself, and the act of defending yourself involved you cutting off the head of the person coming at you, right? That sounds psychotic, right? But apparently, if you're 17 years old, you can cross state lines with a gun, shoot to death 2 people and a third person, hurt, injure a third person, and get away with it with self-defense. The thing that drove me crazy earlier was the judge.
Yeah.
So this was like, and this seems like nothing compared to the whole
it's
overall
really,
thing.
I mean, but it's interesting.
But that they threw out, well, the prosecution was trying to show a video of this kid, kind of aggressively brandishing his gun, and the prosecution used pinch and zoom on an iPad to zoom in to his actions, the video, right? And then the defense said that that was enhancing the footage and using logarithms to change the content. And the judge was like, you can't use pinch and zoom. You're enhancing the image.
It was unbelievable. So using logarithms, so they were saying, you told me, like, it's like they
algorithms. They're trying to say algorithms, right? So they're not even using the right word.
Oh, okay.
So they're injecting all of this doubt into a situation and trying to compare it to digital enhancement of images, and saying, well, we had an expert who was talking about digital enhancement, but pinch and zoom, right, is just expanding, increasing the size of the pixels. It's not adding any data. It's not using algorithms to change the data. And then on top of it, they didn't even use the right word. And so it's like that's the level we're dealing with now is stupidity, being able to create doubt. And I understand this is going to be a problem from now on because, of course, we've got, deep fakes. So I mean, it's just a matter of time where some white kid goes around and blows the heads off of a bunch of people, and then you can't submit any video evidence because it could be a deep fake, right? So I guess that excuse, I shouldn't even be pissed off about it. It's just the beginning of, the end of video evidence. As if I'm getting fucking super pissed off. As if video evidence makes a fucking difference. As a person who was alive 30 years ago and saw an African-American man being beaten nearly to death on the side of a highway by a circle of police officers, and apparently that wasn't enough to convince people that there was something fucked up going on. I don't know why I even think that video is a useful, because it changed things for a little while, right? We had a month or two or a year where people videotaping heinous acts of violence by white supremacists and police officers in support of white supremacy. It was like, oh, that actually had an effect. But apparently now there's no value in that either, right? That evidence. So I don't know. I'm just venting now.
And this judge was just, I saw some meme that said, find somebody who loves you, or looks at you, or lets you off the way that this judge accepts everything that this kid says. I didn't hear any of the, I have not listened to the news in a long time.
Well,
I really haven't.
I don't know why you would.
Yeah.
Because it's just a reinforcement. And so, I mean, this is this is my new thing, my new controversial position on our country, which is our country is not divided into black and white. It's divided into white and gray. So basically, we have part of our country believes in this kind of white notion of what our country is, what authority is, what value is, right? Which is basically, if you're white, if you're a 17-year-old white man, you can shoot people to death. If you're a 17-year-old black man, you can be shot to death, right? So, and then there's the gray side, which is basically everybody who's like, well, no, I don't want the world to be divided into white people and everyone else, right? I don't want there to be these clear delineations where it's the police are always right, the police are always good, my white president is always right, It's like, no, we're fucking living in a world, it's like, oh, if you're rich, you're a good person. If you're poor, you're lazy, right? Those kind of just severe definitions of the world, right? And then there's everybody else who's like, well, no, the world is this much more subtle, complex place, and you can't judge a person by these absolutes, right? Like the color of their skin. And it's like we're at war with these fucking people. I feel like I'm at war with these people. I don't understand. And then on top of it, it's like we're not at war because you know what? I don't want to kill people. I don't want to kill people to get my way. And so is that the problem here too? Is that we're evolving to the point, it's a good thing, I guess, is that we're not going to have a fucking civil war because nobody wants to murder people in order to do the right thing now, or only one side wants to murder people in order to get their way. And the rest of us are evolving to the point where it's, no, I'm not going to blow somebody's head off because I think they're a racist asshole and are destroying our society. I'm not going to do that. And so that means that these horrible people, these horrible, violent, mentally, I'm going to say it, yeah, they're mentally ill. They've got it's the mental gymnastics it takes to convince yourself, like, what kind of mother drives their kid? It's like
with a gun,
with
an
gun.
illegal gun.
It's somebody bought for him,
yeah.
right? Yeah, had to buy for him because he wasn't allowed to buy it, right?
Right.
And drive them over state lines and not say and somehow think that you're doing the right thing, right? That's what I don't understand. I don't understand how those mental gymnastics.
So is there
I understand somebody, right? So if your child has done something like that and you're like, oh shit, but I'm going to do everything I can to protect my child because that's what parents do. But the fact of the matter is that this person, this mother, didn't say that, was an enabler, right? So that's the thing is she did not, oh, well, my son asked me to drive him with a weapon to protests. And so what am I supposed to say? No, you can't do it. That's wrong. What am I supposed to say? Right? Yes, that is what you're supposed to say. That's responsibility. That's basic human responsibility.
So what am I going to hear when I feel like crying? What am I going to hear if I actually fucking turn on the news? Am I going to hear both sides of the story? Am I going to hear am I going to hear why he should have been, am I going to hear a voice explaining why this boy should have been acquitted? Am I going to hear and then the counter story? I remember I was telling you I was listening the other day. I was listening to NPR. In fact, this is the last time I listened to our lovely NPR station because I heard a story and it was two families. One family was deciding not to vaccinate their kids and the other family was deciding to vaccinate their kids. And so the reasons to vaccinate their kids were they wanted them to hang out with their grandparents during the Thanksgiving holidays and stuff, and they really were worried about the rest of the family, and they wanted to vaccinate the kids because they heard the kids could get sick too. The other family just wasn't sure. The dad had COVID already, and he survived it. So other people, and his immune system was strong enough to carry him through, and so he was thinking that this went on for a long enough time where I decided this would be the last couple of minutes I would listen to the radio for like explaining why his opinion was that he wouldn't have his family vaccinated. And I heard that on my NPR station. And I'm sorry, I love you guys. I love you guys, and I still listen to you. I'll still give you money, but I had to take a little vacation from you because I don't want to hear that. You're making it okay for somebody to talk about how they don't believe in science.
Well, I mean, I think the argument is that putting trust in the audience, right, and putting trust in people that they'll be able to listen to both sides of this and be able to criticize and realize, oh, this is why, people are not vaccinating, right? So to create understanding. So the assumption is that if you understand people who don't hold the same ideas or opinions as you, that will help you better understand the worworld and help you better talk to
and
them.
I'm usually fine with that, but I just wasn't that day.
Yeah.
I just don't. I was just like, cause remember you reached that point like a couple of months ago. You were like, I've just had enough of this, of stupid. And I've actually had enough of stupid. I can't. I'm have been privy to conversations recently with people just completely talking out of their ass, and I was talking about imposter syndrome last time. I'm sorry if you guys have imposter syndrome, but if you're an imposter, then you should have the syndrome. Like you should, if you don't know what you're fucking talking about, then don't talk about it. Go learn.
Well, that's Dunning-Kruger, right?
I know,
That's
Dunning-Kruger.
So, once you have
Apparently,
imposter
I don't know what I'm
syndrome, you
talking about.
probably know more.
No, you probably, oh God, I just don't know if I should be teaching this class. And I'm not talking about anybody specific right now, but I just don't know anything, and I'm not going to learn it. So, I have imposter syndrome or something like that. I don't know. Then go learn it, make it the whole idea of imposter syndrome. Oh, I don't know if I should be here. Well, you're there, so figure out a way to actually belong there then.
I think it's more that what was that essay called on bullshit? I don't know if it's a problem with imposter syndrome. I think it's a problem with bullshit. So the thing is that bluff it until you
fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make
bluff
it. Right?
You'll just make stuff up. Yeah, I can't stand that. All right, somebody's laughing. Cody B's got that's a really good laughter picture, like emoji or whatever the hell that is. This is payback. Remind everyone that white supremacy is in charge. Yeah, Patrick Katovich, his wife bought him P-Kids tickets for his birthday. Happy birthday. Or their birthday.
That's right. We have a show coming up.
Wait, hold. Okay, I'm glad.
I forgot to announce it at the beginning of the show.
Glad we're cheering you up, Cody B. Tim Bowers says he's in Salzburg, Austria, but we know what that means. No, I'm just kidding. Go visit Freud's
apartments. Was that in Vienna?
No, it was Vienna. Yeah, I'm sorry, I got Vienna mixed up with Salzburg as a moron.
You're from Salzburg? I know someone who's from Vienna. Freud
said we'll be gone by Sunday. Lockdown on Monday. Oh my God! So they're locking. Yeah. So there's increasing coronavirus.
Oh yeah, in Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all right. Or Austria. Is it? I thought it was Germany. Or is it both? Probably both.
Yeah. And Larry, I don't know how you. Larry Pais says that's what I say. Fuck everybody, but not you guys. You're cool. Which is exactly what I wrote about an hour ago on our family WhatsApp. He's really weird.
Well, so why does this keep happening? I know plenty of wonderful, decent people. What's happened is that we've somehow given people we've given we've given people the ability to be indecent and horrible and think that they're being decent, right? And we've
That's what I
created
want to know. Am I going to turn on ABC? Am I going to turn on ABC News and hear both sides of the story? Like what? And this is why he got acquitted. This guy, he was defending himself. He went to another state to a protest with a gun. He wasn't old enough. And he did this to defend himself. And so he was right. And, so there are some people who feel he was right in defending. What the fuck did you do going over the state line, first of all? Why are you going? Are you going to see like a rock show? Go see a rock show. You're going to go to a protest to kill people, right? With a gun.
Well, to protect property.
Fuck that.
So we have a Poster Children show. I forgot to announce it at the top of the hour here. But this is as good a time as any. Next Friday.
Who are we playing with, Rick?
Nonagon.
And they weren't on they didn't play with us on the right. They weren't the last time we played the Bottom Lounge. They were not on the show, right?
They were, but that was when we
Jesus
played All
Christ.
Tomorrow's Impeachments.
Yeah,
it was a
okay.
different show.
All right. Yeah,
That was the last time we played the Bottom Lounge.
that was the last time we played a show.
Nope, not at all. We played
What? Oh,
at Lincoln Hall.
I don't.
when our
I didn't
record
remember
came
that.
out.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you don't.
I don't remember anything.
It's like
I
you're
just feel
talking
like
and you don't know what you're talking about.
You're out of your element, Donnie.
Friday, November 26th, Bottom Lounge, Chicago.
The Friday after Thanksgiving, as we used to do at like the Metro, we used to play.
I think we've played
Maybe
that
one time.
maybe one or two other times.
Yeah,
and now
but
we're going to give it a try. Hopefully come out. You have to bring your proof of vaccination.
Oh, did we get our T-shirts? They were on their way. They were being
No,
shipped.
there's nothing
Shit.
here yet.
We'll
So, yeah.
be screening T-shirts for you. Do you have a design yet?
Do we have T-shirts yet? All right. So yeah, we're all mad.
Are we gonna? What song would you represent this situation with? Because there's always a song. There's always a Poster Children song.
Well, unfortunately, it's Dangerous Life, but Dangerous Life
we're not playing that song.
takes the perspective. So this is how effed up things are. So that was that's kind of speaking from
Jesus Christ,
voice
Rick!
of
It's a perfect song.
from a psychotic, paranoid person, justifying.
Let me look up the lyrics here. I don't even have to. I gotta get me a gun.
their crazy actions,
Guns
right?
make
And so
everything
now
right.
it's not an appropriate song anymore because I think it could be interpreted as an endorsement of, because apparently now it's not so out there for someone to go through the circuitous logic to justify their violence, right?
Ah,
So the
Sean
idea is
Wilkinson.
that you're frickin' living in one of the most secure, privileged places on the planet, and yet you feel like you're in danger, and then you have to arm yourself, and then you walk into situations with that mentality, you're going to wind up shooting someone, which is what happened, which is what this teenager did. And now,
Apparently, there's another Dangerous Life.
yeah, I'm sure there is.
Poster Children.
There's
Dangerous
another
Life.
Poster Children.
Yeah. Okay, I got to get me a gun. Guns make everything right. The right is all we have left. The left is turning us red. I tear out all of my walls. Walls can hold hidden wires. Wires that tap all my thoughts. Thoughts that tell me there's danger. People are made of stairs. Stairs that I cannot climb. I see what you
What
did
the
there.
hell does that mean?
Stairs like
Yes,
staring
no.
at.
You can explain it, but it doesn't
Yeah. I
necessarily
climb
go
back
any
into my
deeper.
hole. The whole world's losing their mind. I can't be seen on the street. How did you find out my name? I got to get me a gun. So it's not exactly.
Yeah, that's
it's not-
somebody who
that's-
actually had the sense to stay inside instead of going
Yeah.
and having their mom drive them to murder people.
Yeah. So let's see. What can I find here? We need the.
We don't need to. That was enough. One set of lyrics a day per show.
Well, so you were like, oh, I don't know if we should play Cancer. And I was like, we have to play Cancer. I had cancer.
Yeah, well, you were going to sing it, and now I wind up having to sing it and play it.
You can
I didn't
sing
want
it.
to.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to. I wasn't planning on it. Now I got to relearn that song
Oh, and there are other
because you said you were going to sing it, and now I have to sing it.
There are going to be other. It's you know what? If it's not broke, don't fix it. So you sing it well, and me
It's
singing
not broke. Don't sing it.
me singing. I was thinking, I could probably muster out the. Well, okay, and then all right. So the other thing, there are other people who have cancer probably who are going to be at our show, and they would enjoy bouncing around to that song.
All right.
And breaking a hip. But also the song's not about cancer, right?
That's right.
It's cancer is something else. So he's
What?
You're I know you're uncomfortable with me reading your lyrics and stuff. Oh yeah, you're making Cody laugh though. Sean Wilkinson chimes in. We need a P-Kids show in Champaign. You and 3 other people, Sean.
Yeah, we'll see how this Chicago show goes.
Yeah. I want to get Tar down here to play with us at Bloomington on did you already tell? Did you already say no?
I mean, it's always something we talk about.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
it's not.
I don't know how
It's
Tar.
a lot more.
They're
Yeah,
doing something
it's
else
just
now
I'll talk.
anyway.
I'll talk.
Tar.
Don't talk about it until something happens.
Tar.
I know you're all wondering how the colonoscopy went. My colonoscopy went great.
That's right.
We were between colonoscopies last episode. Rose had already had hers.
Did you hear anything about your polyps? They were
Nah,
fine.
yeah, I haven't heard from about my polyps yet. That's next week.
That's
so.
a long time.
Well, they didn't seem worried about it.
Yeah, they didn't seem worried about yours.
And then on top of it, I didn't have. I was able to eat right after. So
I was
I
so
had my
fucking mad.
So Rose had to have a special diet for a week after her colonoscopy because the polyps they took out of her. They apparently her doctor feels like she needs healing time. My doctor said, "Oh no, you can eat whatever you want."
Yeah.
And so I went in there. They had me on the table. And I'm just sitting in a room with 2 nurses and an anesthetologist.
Shit.
And he one of the nurses says, "So have you planned?" I can't fix the camera while I'm talking.
Just
It's
talk.
Not. She said, "What are you going to have to eat after this?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know. I haven't thought about it yet." And then she's like, "You haven't thought about it yet?" And it's like, yeah, I hadn't.
And because I had it all planned out. I was going to go get Korean
and so I was
food
like,
afterwards.
Rose didn't get to eat whatever she wanted, but afterwards,
I had yours planned out too. I was going to eat Korean food,
yeah,
but no,
rolled me back into the room. I got to watch. It was great. I got to watch the 1980s Price is Right. They had it on the TV, so I got to.
You were so excited about it too.
Got to watch it. I saw the first Showcase Showdown or whatever it is where they spin the wheel. I have an argument with our 12-year-old about which is the Showcase Showdown. I think the Showcase Showdown is actually when you spin the wheel, and then the showcase. Or no, I can't remember. Anyways, so and then by the time I woke up, it was just that episode was ending. They were having the.
Yeah, they called me like they're like we're gonna. I dropped you off like at 10 or something, and then like 11:30, they're like we're gonna call you when he goes in. And they called me at 11:30, and they're like, "Well, he's going in now," or sometime I don't remember when it was. And then I said, "Okay, well, I live 10 minutes away, so, how long do you think the procedure will take? When should I leave, to come get him?" And they said, "Oh, you should leave now."
And
got there, and you were like, "Hello."
And then they said I could eat whatever I wanted, and Rose I think actually yelled "fuck" really loud.
Yeah,
no, you didn't.
And then no, it's because.
But then you like.
Well, then you know what they said?
Yeah.
They were like, "Well, you're gonna have to take him because he can't drive for 24 hours. So it's really up to you. It's up to you. You get to make him eat whatever you want." And I was thinking, no, I don't.
And you actually said I was a vegan, which I did not want you to say to them. You outed me as a vegan, which in Central Illinois in a medical facility, I just don't like people knowing that. I feel like they'll accidentally smother me or no, I don't feel that, but they'll just start judging me about my diet. But then I said, no, I'm more strict about diet than she is. So, But it was that kind of thing where the wife doesn't want her husband to be eating French fries and stuff. And I'm like, that was kind of the vibe I got, right?
Oh,
the
yeah,
wife.
because I was like, what the hell? Like, as if I could be in charge of you. You know, there are some women
As
who...
if a woman could tell her husband
There are some
what
women who
to
do that. There are some women who do that. Some women like...
I didn't even realize I could do a kind of Rush Limbaugh.
Yeah, you
without
should
even knowing
keep
it.
doing that. You should keep doing that.
I'm already losing it. Yeah, and then we got to go and eat a Indian food buffet. It was great.
Yeah,
And
that was...
and I did, and they said, "Oh yeah, you may not poop for 3 days." And I was like, so I think that whole healing time thing, I would question, why, if the polyps take time to heal, why not just, you can start eating because nothing's going to come through the pipeline. Yeah, it's not going to get through there.
That's what I wanted. Like the colon, how does it work? Like I was almost interested and when I was really interested in how the body works, like all of a sudden, like I had my booster shot on Monday, like, and it is like your body, like every cell, for me, it was like every cell was on fire again, like on painful fire. And my arm hurt like crazy. And like I don't complain. I don't complain about my arm hurting from a
Never.
shot. Okay,
You're not
maybe
a
I do.
complainer.
Well, come on. I just had my boobs cut out. Did I complain about? Did I say, "Oh, that hurts"? Do I complain? I guess I complain all the time, probably. But it was. I was just like I knew, like, okay, it happened at 11:00. Then I timed it. I'm like, I'll probably be able to eat dinner and go to capoeira tonight, and that'll probably be the last thing I do, and then I'll probably be in pain all night. And so I was like kamikaze. Like during capoeira, I was like, oh, I don't feel good. And then like that night, I think I drank a bunch of ramen noodle soup, and then like, yeah, by the time I went to bed, I was shivering. And it was like a fire. Like, I don't know, like in Star Trek 2, the what is that thing called? The Genesis Project. When they terraform those, like you see the fire, the whole. That's what it feels like your whole body. So I was like sitting there like laying. I was like trying to do a Vipassana thing. I was like,
maybe the thing on your ear is a little tiny Spock getting reborn.
Yeah. So I was. I'm just gonna ignore that. I was trying to do a Vipassana thing, like I was trying to like actually feel how my body felt, like and what parts of it were hurting so bad, and like what kind of. I was like, what are the four elements? Like which
I feel like I'm going to die.
it was like
I
that.
feel like.
Yeah, well, that's what you could go that way.
I think if I fell
Does
asleep
it
right
feel
now,
like earth or
I would rather
water?
never wake up.
Yeah,
I feel the wave of
fire
death.
or
I feel
wind.
a blanket
It's
of
fire.
death. I feel a blanket of death
Yeah.
coming over me.
Anyway, your son like packed me in like my son too. Both our son put me in blankets and stuff, and then I remember kind of falling asleep, and then I woke up and I was puking all night.
Yeah, that scared me. I didn't even know you were throwing up. I wish I had known. But it was good I didn't know. I guess.
I'm glad.
slept
I
through it.
heard somebody. I think I woke up Graham. I heard. But and then I went back, and then I in the morning I went and taught my class. So I taught 2 classes on Tuesday, and I was already I was already feeling better. And I tried to get the kids to not come to the class, but they came anyway. I was like, I made a video, you guys just watch it, but they all came to class anyway.
How insensitive.
And then I said, well, I must be the best professor in the world, and they said, you are. I was very.
That's nice.
And then I went home and went to sleep.
It wasn't. Oh, we didn't check our emails, so we didn't know class was
I'm
optional.
sure that's what it was. Yeah, but I mean the Discord server too. They didn't check that. Come on. And I told them the week before. Anyway, and then Tuesday night I slept all day, and then it kind of goes off. It like clicks off like a switch. It's like, okay, I'm done. It's like it really is like the Star Trek 2 thing, because like when it finishes terraforming the world, then it's all nice again. So by Wednesday I was fine. Like by Wednesday night I had a nice capoeira class again. Tuesday I missed it.
Yeah, so it was just a day.
And
you were
it
down.
was so Monday to Wednesday. So that's like 2 days, right? Or it's 1.5 days. I was trying to calculate it out. And so a bunch of our friends just got their boosters, and you're going when?
5.
So, and you said you don't remember how you felt from it.
No, I just went to sleep. I can't remember. I think it was the second dose. I just went to sleep. Yeah,
Well,
I mean, it's so.
Are you going to eat before?
I'm not gonna think. I'm not gonna overthink it. I'm just gonna, just let it happen. If you have to cart me to the hospital, then it'll happen. But I'm not
Oh
gonna
my
plan
God.
ahead.
Yeah.
Why should I? I mean, I planned ahead by having it on a Friday night.
Yeah.
Getting it on Friday night. So I do my podcast, get my shot, and then
Eat.
watch TV, eat, and then go to sleep, and then just don't wake up until Sunday. It'll be fine.
And are we practicing Sunday, right?
Yeah, so I better be okay by then.
It's like-
It'll be good for me, though, actually, to
Play
practice.
sick?
Yeah, play sick, because that'll be like playing live.
I remember playing a show and having mono. I always talk about, I talk about this once every 10 years on Radio Zero. You guys had me, it was at Mabel's, and you had me all wrapped up in a blanket, like in the corner. And then we played, it was time, okay, Rose, get on the stage. And I just came out, I was like sweating and shivering and stuff. And we played the show, and then you guys packed me back up in the blanket. And then you guys had to load out all the gear and stuff like that. Dannon loves that we were using a Wrath of Khan reference. Yeah.
Nerd.
So, all right. So what else is going on?
I just wrote a note to myself. Cancel culture is culture, and so just, I mean, it was.
Is that your new record?
No, that's the whole point of culture, is that it changes, and then at some point, the balance moves, and we collectively decide that things are no longer appropriate and tolerable, and so we cancel things. We say that's not cool anymore, and that's the way it works. That's all culture is, right? It's a balancing act between, what people are willing to tolerate, and then people not tolerating anymore, or vice versa, right? And it's just
it's cancel. It's not. It's changing culture.
It's called progress. It's called change.
Yeah.
It's called making
We
the world a
canceled
better.
slavery.
Exactly. That's
canceled
cancel
that.
culture.
Yeah.
That's what culture
Can't
is.
believe
It's
you can't,
changing.
Can't do slavery anymore.
And so the question
Slavery's
is
been canceled.
yeah.
Women
So
not voting's been canceled.
I mean, and again, it's a war between people who think everything's fine and should not change, and actually what it is a war between people who have a fantasy of the past, thinking that it was okay, completely delusional, and then people who think things can get better, right? Let's keep it the way it was. Why change? Why rock the boat?
Yeah.
Because the boat's going to rock anyways. You got to adapt. Yeah, the older former bag and bread boy said, well, these people will just die, and go away. And I'm like, I don't think we have time. It's like saying somebody's driving, again, my bus metaphor, driving the bus over a cliff, and you're like, well, maybe they'll die before we go over the cliff. That's kind of like, it's not a good plan when things are getting, when the cliff is coming. I think there are lots of cliffs. We got to stop these crazy people and hoping they'll just, die off.
All right. So
Anyways.
tell me something good. You were so funny when you were coming out of the you were all about the drug that they give you to knock you out. You were like, oh, I could see why Michael Jackson
propofol.
liked
Yeah.
this.
So I think it was what Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson died from. I think that's what they gave me, and it was super fast acting, and I felt pretty good afterwards. And I did have a little bit of euphoria. It was not like totally crazy euphoria, but I felt pretty good.
Like when you looked and you saw it was the Showcase Showdown on The Price is Right, you're like, look at that.
Yeah, it was great.
Okay.
I felt great. I felt calm. I had no idea what happened. I mean, it was definitely terrifying. Like, I can't believe that Michael Jackson was using this as a replacement for sleep, and conking out for 8 hours or whatever he was doing to survive. But it was like, oh, okay, I think I understand what happened here. But it was also terrifying, to realize that this, well, I was going to say this poor man, but
He's a rich man, huh?
yes,
This rich man.
and probable child molester. Can I say that? I can say that, right?
Or now you're canceling child molesters.
I'm canceling Michael Jackson.
Okay.
Was
well, I think
yeah
he
was
canceled
was
himself.
using this drug to
Oh, and then you were wondering if he had started using it because of his colonoscopy.
maybe when he turned like
Yeah.
how old was he when he died? Like did he get hooked on propofol when he had his colonoscopy? That's my question.
Is it a gateway drug?
Because I could totally see like Michael Jackson, the whole colonoscopy process where you're not eating and then you're taking the what is it called?
Laxative?
Laxatives and everything like that, and only pooping out liquid and it just seems like
he could get into that.
Yeah, get into that and
Yeah.
that whole process, and then the drug knocking you out, and feeling really good when you wake up as if you've had a good sleep, even though
He called it milk, Paul Hickerson.
Yeah, that's right, milk.
Yeah.
Doctor, I need some more milk. I need my milk. It's terrible. That is, I've done that Michael Jackson impression. I need my milk.
That's all right.
It's like my what's her name impression. My husband, Donald J. Trump.
Donald J. Trump.
Yeah, definitely reduce these famous people down to one horrible aspect and moment of their lives. But it was that was the positive thing. It was like, oh yeah, I could see. I had some empathy for Michael Jackson getting hooked on propofol
nice.
but to me, like once every 5 or 10 years going through that process. And I don't think I've ever been under anesthesia. I mean, I had anesthesia. They say, oh, did you have your wisdom teeth out? And I'm like, yeah, but I don't remember being 100% out during that.
Oh, my God. All right, so John Hasty, who we're playing with on Friday, writes, I woke up during mine.
Oh, no.
Watched my insides on the big TV screen in real time. Surreal.
Ugh. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't like that.
That's why you're cooler than we are.
I don't like that at all.
Oh, my
that
God.
upsets
And Dan,
me.
and yes, of course, if we call you a nerd, it's a compliment. Jesus Christ. Well, okay.
It's like when I call someone a jerk. I mean, I hate myself.
he's
So
a
when
jerk.
I call someone else a jerk, it's no worse than I
Jerk
would
is
call
different
myself.
than nerd. And I have this, like, speaking of jerks, no, I won't say it. For those of you guys who
Are still listening.
and who wrote your names on my release forms where I wrote about some people in my book. Mark Lanigan, for one. No, I didn't write
You
about
didn't have
him.
to get a release for Mark Lanigan, huh? He's famous. Oh, you didn't quote him.
Oh no, I didn't quote him.
You're just talking
I
about
could
him. You
quote
can do
him,
that.
though.
No, but you don't
Yeah.
have to.
For those of you who signed some, like I had to like copy out the lines. I wrote this about you. Is that okay? Or would you like to change it? And so I did that for like 22 people, I think. And there's only 3 people that I'm waiting to hear back from now. And like some people were just like, oh yeah, whatever. Some people just answered with a heart. Like heart. I'm like, that was so wonderful. And then like poor Brad Elvis. I wrote something like, do you remember what I wrote about him?
You called him a hippie.
I didn't call him a hippie, but I called his crew a hippie. It was his road crew, and I thought it was his fans, and they looked like hippies because they were near a bus. But it was like, and I don't know, I had this it was like a black and white picture, and I had this totally different image of that. And it was 2017 that I wrote this, and I just met him for and like I send this to him, and he's like, and it's like all about like what a generous guy he is, like he does this cool rock pic of the day, like on Facebook. He like put like rock pictures of like really famous people, and he just does that because he just seems like just such a nice guy, and he's like a drummer for the Romantics, and he's in so many other. He's in other bands and stuff like that. But he was in the Elvis Brothers, and he was in Screams, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I wrote something like there was a picture of him with his, fans all flowered up. I wrote, and I don't know why I wrote that. And again, it was 2017. And this has to do with John. This is all John Iceberg's fault, too, because we had that panel discussion at the Champaign Public Library about the history of the Champaign scene. And I was there because I was a woman.
Yeah, there were 2 panel discussions. I thought this was the one about. So there was the one at the Sousa Center also. There were two.
That's
panel
right. Yeah,
discussions,
yeah,
but
yeah.
Anyways,
But anyway, well, anyway, I I wrote here. This is what I wrote about you. Is that okay? And he wrote back, please call me to discuss. And he gave me his phone number, and I'm call him up, and I'm like, hey, how's it going? I'm sure this could have just been a Facebook conversation, but and he proceeds to explain to me that he's not a hippie at all. He hates Boston, not the city, but their band was like punk rock, transitional between punk. Well, go ahead, because you explain it even better. But I was just horrified.
Power pop.
Yeah, but also was really into the Ramones and Roxy music, and I'm trying to remember because I wrote he talked to me for an hour just explaining, and I just felt like I didn't feel bad. I felt like how nice of him to take this time to to tell me about what he's really about and not be angry at me. And just really emphatic, and I was writing stuff down. And he's, I was like, one of the things I wrote was, because I was like, they didn't have any mentors, like REO Speedwagon didn't tell them, oh, you better not sign to a major label, and so what happened to them was they signed to, what did they sign to? Not CBS. They were on, I have it written down. I can't remember now. It's in my book if you really want to know.
Label.
A major, and then they were
a sub-label distributed through a major.
Yeah, and so they were overseas. And they having this fantastic tour headlining sold out shows in London, and then the major label dropped the subsidiary. So they had to cancel their tour and come home. They had to cancel their tour and come home from it. They had to beg for money to fly home to Champagne. It is just so absolutely horrible.
Classic.
And the classic, yeah. But so he's I was like, who mentored you? And he was like, no, we didn't have anybody. And when I talked to him again on the phone, he was like, we didn't have the internet. All we had was our imagination. I was like, it wasn't even that. It was an even better quote than that. It's just full of so many great quotes. But man, yeah, I just felt great. And so then I rewrote everything and I sent it to him. It was like one paragraph before, now it's 3 paragraphs. But
somebody had posted, I saw the inside gatefold of Dream Police, and so it's talking about power pop and that transitional. So I think Cheap Trick's an example of that, where Cheap Trick was definitely you could see it in the band, right? So the two sides, the glam rock kind of rockers, and then the two weird new wave looking guys, right? And so I think just even their appearance, Cheap Trick kind of represented that strange transition where you had some people who liked pop music, liked stuff coming over from England, but also had a rock, American rock element, and then kind of fusing those together, right? So the Ramones were like that too, right? And so but anyways, the inside sleeve of Dream Police, just the fact that there's pictures of them, they're in the lineup, and they have them in their police uniforms, but then also all 4 of them are in their rock outfits, right? Regular band outfits in the lineup, and then the 4 of them are also sitting in seats looking at the 8 of them as policemen and then as rockers, right?
That would have been hard to do before Photoshop.
Yeah, it was like, wow. And I remember seeing that and thinking, wow, this is an amazing photo. And I hadn't seen it for 40 years. And I think my friend had Dream Police.
I have that.
Do you?
Oh, yeah, I'm from Illinois.
Yeah, but I mean, I thought we had 2 copies alive at Budokan in
we
the
do.
Shelf, but I don't know if we have a copy of Dream Police. I'll have to pull it out and look at it.
I totally have Dream Police. Yeah.
All right. I don't know if we do. I don't know if it's in the house.
May have been liberated to the people, as Andy, our former roommate, says. Andy.
Well, yeah. Who's got the copy of Armageddon Times from your Sandinista? And I don't know where your Sandinista is.
Oh, that sucks. Speaking
Anyways.
of Andy, do you want to talk about the Siebel Center? Oh, we already talked to Rachel.
We did an interview and everything. But we had a great visit. Saw the building.
Oh my God, so beautiful.
Oh, the older child by
going to
himself
pick up
went to pick up the younger child.
I know.
Amazing.
Yeah.
He got pulled over by the police the other day, admitted to a crime, made his first mistake talking to a police officer. He said,
that was the same day. All right. Yeah, go on. You go on, because then
he got pulled over and then apparently said to the police officer, "Oh, I know I wasn't supposed to park in that parking lot. I was illegally parked." The police officer was like, "No, you're driving without your headlights on." So hopefully that sunk in, that when you roll down the window, and of course he has the privilege of being a white man, so he wasn't shot. Fucking
That's right.
Shot. He was just questioned or told it, but yeah, don't admit to your crime until you know what the policeman is pulling you over for.
So meanwhile, earlier that day, we were talking to a policeman and the principal of where he goes to school, because he brought something to the school that you are not supposed to bring to the school. And he pulled it out in the classroom. And we all know what that was.
A digital
recording device.
A Zoom recorder.
A digital recording device. And you can't. So now, I don't know, like a couple of weeks ago, somebody brought a gun to school. And Graham...
Well, that person got suspended. I mean, the person who brought the gun to school is now no longer going to school.
Graham said that he's now entering the legal the legal system.
The one who brought the gun to school?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
but he'll be acquitted, right? Because oh wait, he didn't shoot
brought
any
it for
people.
Self-defense.
Yeah, he didn't shoot any people.
Because the school is
though, right?
dangerous. Why wouldn't you bring a gun to school? It's dangerous. Everyone knows that. Just trying to protect yourself. Because what if somebody comes in and tries to shoot everyone? You got to have a gun.
We were sitting, so I was sitting and listening to the principal and the police officer talk because he was he was.
So you're allowed to record in a place that's a public space, right? You don't need to have permission from two parties.
Illinois is very strict.
But there's some restriction on classrooms, so you can't audio record in classrooms. Apparently, you can video record. There's some kind of weird thing going on with video recording and audio recording in classrooms. There's not an assumption of it being a public space. But when I was looking into this, apparently you can record a police officer now without permission, without asking permission. So that was what was happening in Illinois before, is that you could be arrested for recording your interactions with a police officer if you didn't ask the police officer for permission while they were, threatening you or beating you.
When the police officer came in the room, he said, I just want to inform you guys that I'm recording now because I have a body cam and everything that I do and say gets recorded. And I just wanted to poke Graham and go, see, Graham, you should just become a police. And then you could record everything. And I didn't.
Again, I
lost opportunity.
I honestly believe that there are, good police and bad police.
And actually, I've got to say, this is probably a very unpopular opinion, but I've never met a Bloomington police officer that I haven't just thought was the sweetest person in the world.
I have. I got yelled at by a policeman.
Really?
Yeah.
Where? When? You did something wrong?
There was an accident, and there was a police officer.
Oh, you
he
were
was
in the wrong
directing
place.
traffic, but then there was some dumb shit local guy who I think was part of the accident, who was also waving people, taking it into his own hands, right? Taking the law into his own hands, standing there with the policeman, waving people. And so this guy is waving me to go one way, and then the policeman turns around and starts screaming at me.
Oh.
And I'm like, why don't you tell the guy who's standing there waving traffic around, the mook that's just been, that just ran into somebody or is trying to be citizen cop over here. Why don't you tell him, to stop
yell
waving
at him,
me?
not me.
Yell at me,
I'm
and it's like somehow I'm the bad person, not this knucklehead who's taking the law into his own hands, and you're not even aware that you got your stupid little friend helping out.
Well, anyway, my encounters with the police, the police were at the protests and just just protecting everybody, protecting the people who didn't have guns. And all right, Larry asks, did you guys watch the Velvet Underground documentary on Apple Plus?
I did.
He probably wants to know what you thought of it.
I liked it. I liked that it was from an artsy perspective, right? It was very much about the Warhol scene. It wasn't just about. I mean, it had stuff about Lou Reed and but it definitely took the more kind of artsy side, the John Cale, Lou Reed, Andy Warhol factory kind of artsy environments. I felt like after John Cale left the band, they kind of just went through this kind of perfunctory sort of examination of what, the band after John Cale was thrown out, right? Right. And so it was just kind of like, oh yeah, and they did a bunch of other stuff. And so I really appreciate, I mean, that's the reason why I found out about the Velvet Underground, because I was into art and I was getting into music. And then I went to JNR's Music World, and I'm looking through the racks, and there's a record that has a banana on the front and says Andy Warhol. And I'm like, what the hell is this? I remember holding it up and showing it to my dad, who knew who Andy Warhol was, right? Right? Had no idea who the Velvet Underground was.
Your dad is so cool.
Well, no, I mean, my parents
is.
were appreciated art.
Yeah.
And so I wound up buying it, and then, at a probably inappropriate age, but I'm really invested in that story, and then also the Edie oral history about Edie Sedgwick, who was part of that scene and has a lot of stuff about the Velvet Underground and Andy Warhol. I read that around that time also, once I got the record, and so I really like that aspect of it. But I also think that the post John Cale Velvet Underground is super interesting also, where they became, they're, and it's still strange. I mean, the third album, right, is a weird record, even though it's doesn't have as much avant-garde elements to it, and think in some ways it does, just because of how it's so mellow, a lot of it. And so so that's my only problem with the documentary is like, but I also understand in the course of 2 hours, how much are you going to focus on? But I liked it. Yeah. And lots of Jonas Mekas footage, and he was in it. So that to me, just tying it all into the art scene, I really enjoyed that part of the documentary. And so, do I feel like it's the most complete Velvet Underground documentary? No, but I think I liked it. I really enjoyed it. That's my review.
Cool. Thank you, Rick. Larry says that was his first Velvet Underground album as well.
Yeah.
And now that you've given it a review, he's going to watch it this weekend.
Oh, okay. Oh, geez. I just assumed. Yeah.
Oh, you
I
just gave it away. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. John Cale got kicked out of the band. And I love John Cale. That's the thing, is like John Cale, like it reminded me, and I like over the past couple of years, I've been revisiting and actually listening to a lot of John Cale stuff that I'd never listened to before, and realizing how great he is, and how I don't know how frustrated John Cale must be, because I know because I know a lot of people respect him, but he's not on the level of Lou Reed, and maybe that's just because Lou Reed had a hit song, right? And John Cale never, kind of had hits, but never really had a hit like the equivalent of Walk on the Wild Side. So poor John Cale, who has done amazing stuff, and actually I've listened to a lot more John Cale in the past couple of years than I've listened to Velvet Underground and Lou Reed, because it's just kind of like, okay, I've listened to this over and over again, and that, it's first off, that he's still alive, so he can frickin' talk about himself and talk about the band. That's just great that John Cale's still alive, and the more I talk about John Cale, it's just kind of like, frickin' Lou Reed, man. I love Lou Reed, and it's definitely a hero. But then, you start looking at John Cale. Okay, he was in the Velvet Underground. Before that, the thing is, the movie starts out with John Cale. It does not start out with Lou Reed. It starts out with frickin' John Cale showing up on TV in the early 1960s in America. Playing a John Cale piece or John Cage piece, right? So it's that's, now that I think about it, what I really liked about the documentary is John Cale. It's definitely favorable towards John Cale. But yeah, just the fact that then John Cale, he gets kicked out of the Velvet Underground, does that Nico record, which Jackson Browne, was part of. So early days of Jackson Browne before he became the, 70s rocker. And then the Stooges, the frickin' Modern Lovers record, all those, being on those early Eno records, and then those early and the John Cale solo records in the 60s and 70s are all over the place and amazing. And then even some of the stuff he's doing now, frickin' that song Hallelujah, the Leonard Cohen song Hallelujah that everyone sings to no end, where it's just like, oh, I don't frickin' need to hear this song ever again. It's basically because of John Cale.
This century's frozen.
Yeah, exactly. It's like John Cale.
Let it go.
I mean, John Cale was one of the people who did that kind of, Leonard Cohen wrote it, but John Cale did a cover really early on. And, if you listen to John Cale's cover, it's like, oh yeah, okay. He knew. Well, it's not like other people didn't know that Leonard Cohen was good, but it was just, it's just all of those kind of little aspects of him. I really liked it. Okay. I'm talking too much about John Cale. John Cale.
John Cale. Well, I guess I better go to the convenient care now.
Yeah, get your ear removed. All right. Well, hope you're doing okay. Have a good Thanksgiving. Be thankful for what you have, right? Don't let the negativity bring you down.
That's a really, being thankful is a great thing to do. I mean, we are so lucky, all of us.
Yeah, but I think the world can be a better and more fair place.
But the world can be a better and more fair place.
Don't
bring a gun to race scene.
All right.